Hey, you guys. So, are you excited? I'm super excited about doing this. So, today we're going to do a rewired. We're going to learn how to reprogram our brains. So, let's get started. I'm going to do a little intro so that everybody has a little time to jump in. But today we're doing rewired on self worth and learning how to reprogram your brain. So, let's get started. You owe it to yourself to be great. You owe it to yourself. And some may say that is selfish. And some may say that they owe it to their family to be there for them. But let me tell you something. You owe it to your family to be an example of someone who lives the life that they want to live, a strong example of a strong human being. You owe it to everyone that you love to set that example of what that looks like to have a great life so they can follow in your footsteps. Settling for less with accepting average, it stops with you. Strength and courage and determination and a beautiful life starts with you. And you can't help anyone until you help yourself. And when you make you strong, that strength will spill over to everyone else and they will feel inspired by you and they will follow your example. Some say it's focusing on yourself is selfish, but I say to settle for mediocre in life that you hate, that's selfish because that would be reciprocated for many generations to come until someone says enough's enough. I am more than this. So do it for yourself to see how far you can go in life. You owe it to yourself to earn the kind of money you want to earn. You owe it to yourself to be the kind of person you want to be, to feel the kind of energy you want to feel, to have the kind of body you want to have. And you owe it to yourself to feel the pride of knowing that you made your life. And you didn't get lucky. You sacrificed. And you owe it to yourself to look back in this very moment, to say, I decided to change my life. All right, you guys. Sorry we had to do a little intro. I like to kind of start it off with something because, it takes a little time for people to start getting in. I'll send out the emails and I'll send out the text messages, and sometimes people still don't get the notification. So if you are really trying to make sure that you get those notifications, there's a way to set that in your Facebook inside the Limitless You Facebook group. I don't know exactly what the steps are, but I know that there's a way of kind of like getting those notifications. So make sure that you turn that on so that you don't miss it and you're on time. Okay, so what are we talking about? So what we're doing today, let me put the little banner up real quick. Hold on a second so that I'm telling people to say their names. We want to say your name and that you're on time. That way I can go back into the text messages and I know who showed up. Also, too, if you're not using StreamYard or you don't have that downloaded, a lot of times what happens is that it'll say, Facebook user, and it doesn't necessarily say what your name is. So I don't know who's talking. So that's why I say your name.
If you have, you don't have to worry about that, So I just want to kind of yell out and say hi to everybody so far. So I do see who's jumping in, and I guess I'm just going to keep my glasses on here. Linda Duncan, Christy, Elizabeth, Kim. All right. Thank you guys for showing up. I know people are going to start like roaming in here, and I know it's an afternoon time, so it's a little harder for everybody to kind of show up. However, watch the replay and then say your name so I can kind of come back and say, hey, I know who showed up. Okay. Also, too, Wednesdays, we're doing a late class on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. So it's a little bit later. So that kind of helps with people who aren't able to do the afternoon times. And Jacinda Bell is a life coach whom I've trained and I've been working with for a while. And she is going to be doing kind of a follow-up on self-worth on Wednesdays. So don't miss it, and make sure that you're supporting her. Okay. Put comments in there, let her know that you're showing up for her. So this is one of her first times to actually do a real class in front of a lot of people. So make sure you're supporting her. Okay. So enough announcements. I would lose my voice right in the middle of this, and that's just the way it goes. Okay, so we're talking about self-worth. So today we're going to be talking about how to reprogram your brain. It's called, this whole series is every Friday at 1 o'clock, every Wednesday, a follow-up with Jacinda Bell at 7 p.m. And we're going to be having a subject per week. So this week, we're going to talk about self-worth. That's why I had that little intro about self-worth where I'm like, you owe it to yourself, okay? Because you do. So let's kind of start with why people have problems with self-worth, okay? Why don't we value ourselves as much as we value other people? And, like in that intro, I was saying, you may say that, oh, I owe it to my family to be there for them. But you owe it to your family to show up for them as the best version of yourself. That's what you owe. You owe it to yourself and to them, not just to constantly chase after and do all these things for everybody and wear yourself out, but more to be there as an example. Okay. But it's hard because we don't feel a lot of self-worth, and we feel like we're being taken advantage of. And, we do for all these other people, and yet nobody's doing for us. Well, that's because you don't set your expectations high enough. You do not ask for your needs to be met. I remember years ago when I was pretty young, and I was still dealing with all my self-worth issues, okay? And I was playing the role of a victim. And let me tell you, I played it really good. I was a perfect victim mindset. And I finally I tried counselors after counselors. Anyway, I found this guy who was like super spiritual, and he was a counselor, a licensed counselor. And he said something to me that it still rings true. It's like I hear that voice in my head over and over again. And I've heard the same thing for years. And that's ask for your needs to be met. And I remember when he said that it was like he was talking French to me, It was like, what? Okay, let me write this down. Okay, where's my pen? Okay, what? Now, ask what? What does that mean? I remember asking him, what does it mean to ask for my needs to be met? And, I was like, what? And I was like, give me an example, it was so foreign. From my perspective as a victim, I felt like I had to just do what everybody wanted me to do, and maybe somebody would like me. And, I don't know. And if they don't like me, it's because I'm not helping them enough. It was all of that. But he was asking for my needs to be met. And I really never understood until I decided to do it. And I remember I was going through a divorce, and I I remember, my mom coming in and saying, to me that she was saying, "Oh, aren't you afraid that he's going to try to take the kids away from you? Aren't you afraid?" And she was like putting all this fear in me. And I was like really kind of like getting upset. I mean, like my blood pressure started rising, because I already knew those things and I was always already worried about those things. But somebody kind of like just reminded you over and over again of all the things that could possibly go wrong was like horrifying for me. And so finally, I remember him saying, "Ask for your needs to be met." So what did I do? I said, "Mom, this is what I need from you right now. I need you to support me and tell me everything's going to be okay. Please do not say anything like, all the things that I already know, because I don't need to be reminded of that. And all it does is make me more worried, more fearful." And I said, "But what I need from you is for you to say, it's going to be okay. We're going to be here with you the whole way. And that God's going to be with you, and, everything's going to work out." And she stopped for a second and she said, "Okay, baby." And I was like, "What? What? That worked?" I was like, holy shit. That's like the magic words. Just ask for somebody to do what you need them to do. It was crazy. I was like, "You're kidding me." Just say, "What I really need from you right now is," and it was just shocking to me that that it worked. So I started trying it again, and I started trying it on other people, and I started finding that they were either going to say yes or no, and on whatever it was. What I really need you to do right now is understand this, or try to see my perspective, or whatever. And like I said, sometimes it worked. Majority of the time it worked. But it made me feel more empowered. And it made me feel like I valued my own self-worth by asking for my needs to be met. So I'm going to ask you guys this week, I really want you to put that into play. I want you to actually ask for your needs to be met. So if you can think of things, or think of anybody who's not meeting your needs, why don't you ask for your needs to be met? And not in a blaming sort of way, guys. You need to remove yourself away. "You're not doing this for me." Stay away from that. Okay. What you need to do is say, "Hey, what I really need from you right now is this." So practice that this week. I really like to hear everybody kind of telling me next week when we talk, and that's what they've been asking. And I'd like to hear your results, because it's a different way of thinking versus really criticizing the person in front of you for not hitting your needs, because a lot of times they don't know. Now, sometimes you have narcissists and they don't care. But if you present it in a way, especially to men, men are very interesting people. I have one myself, and they think differently. And so if you come at them with, "This is what I need you to do," they're real good about responding. But if you come at them like, "This is what you're not doing, and it's really pissing me off, and now I need you to do this," they're not going to respond very well. So they feel like they're being nagged. So let's kind of try to avoid that. Let's also avoid it with any other person, male or female, and even your children. Try it with your kids. See how it works. What I really need you to do, little Joey, is go clean your room right now. Okay. Try those kind of things. Okay. So let's get on with this. What is self-worth? What is self-worth? Well, self-worth is when you value yourself enough to either ask for your needs to be met, putting yourself first, really like taking care of yourself, trying to create the best version of yourself, trying to create the best life for yourself. When you feel like your life has value and you decide that you're going to step up to yourself, it's not self-esteem though. No, we're not talking about self-esteem. We're talking about self-worth. But self-esteem is kind of the same thing, you know. Jacinda, why don't you clarify yourself a little bit so I understand what you're talking about? So anyways, when you value yourself enough. So let's kind of talk about what that means. Okay. So let's say that, you know, you feel like you're unworthy of success, unworthy of love, unworthy of, you know, having, you know, a really good family, whatever that means. Hold on one second here. Just letting others know not to confuse self-worth and self-esteem. Okay, good. Okay, so, but I kind of feel like self-worth and self-esteem kind of run hand in hand. It is a little bit different, but it does run hand in hand, Jacinda. But we'll clarify that in a second. But thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so let's think about children. Okay, when we feel like there's value in something or somebody, we treat them that way, right? So if I create value in my children and they're worth something to me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to treat them with value. So I'm going to care for them. So I'm going to bathe them every day. I'm going to put on that nice, smelly, good lotion that smells like baby lotion and it smells so good. And I'm going to, you know, rub their skin all over. I'm going to read to them. I'm going to educate them. I'm going to tell them stories and I'm going to play with them and I'm going to love on them and I'm going to take care of them. I'm going to give them healthy foods. Okay. I'm going to make sure that they're getting exercise. We're going to do all these things for them, right? But do you do those things for yourself? You know? And so that's the big question. Are you feeding your body with healthy foods? Are you taking care of yourself? Do you wake up in the morning and, you know, say, you know, I'm worthy and I am going to present myself and take care of myself as a person that that's worthy. So I've seen a lot of people who stop caring about the way they look and they walk around like I don't give a shit about how I look. And so then they get upset because people criticize them. And this isn't about weight, you guys, because Lord knows I need to lose a few pounds, okay? And I mean, you've all seen the full figure bodies of me, you know, it's not like I'm Miss Skinny Benny. So, you know, that's not what I'm talking about. But I always try to make sure that I look presentable. Okay, because I value who I am, because I care about myself. Just like you do with your kids, you know, you're going to take them to a party and you're going to fix their hair and put them in cute little ponytails and bows in the hair and a beautiful little dress and little lace, socks with cute, you know, things. Like, you don't let your kids go looking sloppy, you know. You're like, you know, your son comes over and you're like, hey, we need to comb your hair, and you put something cute on them. I mean, but why? Because we value our kids. We do the same thing with our dogs. You know, Lord knows I love my dogs. Everybody knows I love my dogs. I'm always posting about my dogs. Okay. And so I treat my dogs that way. I love on them. I mean, Chief is, oh my God, 120 pounds. And he jumps on top of me and loves me, wraps his arms around me and just loves on me and licks all over me. And he does that. Why? Because I play with him. I play ball with him. I take him on walks. I treat him. I know that he needs exercise. I know he needs playtime. I know that he needs healthy foods. You love my dogs too. Yeah, they're awesome. And Chelsea needs a lot more energy. She needs to be chased around and gets excited. And, each one of them needs something a little bit different. And Chief likes to play tug of war. Like, he gets one of his balls and he wants to play tug of war. And Chelsea likes to be chased around. So I do this on a daily basis. I don't just go, I don't feel like it, because my dogs have value to me. So what if you reverse that and you did it for yourself? What if you say, I have value to me and I owe it to me and my family and everybody that I love to set a really good example of how to have a great life. So, I have a client, or a client that used to be client. She's not a client anymore. She kind of worked with me for about 6 months or so. And her name is Stephanie. And she and I were talking just the other day, actually on the phone. And she was like, yeah, I have another wedding. And I was like, girl, you just had a wedding. Didn't you just marry off your daughter? And now you're marrying off your son like just a month or so later. And she's like, yeah, I know, but that's all on me. And I was like, what do you mean? And she goes, well, they were going to elope. But I said, no, we're going to do all this stuff for you. So I put a wedding together. And I was like, wow. And she's like, look, Michelle, here's the reason why. She goes, this girl is, she comes from a particular type of family. And she's like, I wanted to show her what a loving family looks like. And I want to show her what it looks like. I mean, she was literally like, she is the prime example of a person living the life and being the example of what that life looks like. And that's what I'm talking about is, valuing yourself and then being the example of what a wonderful life looks like for other people. And when you level up, others level up around you. And, anybody who's ever watched anything I've said, I always say this. Okay. So I'm going to say it again for all you new guys that have never seen me. But I always say this is when you become the light, one of two things will happen. They're either going to transform with you, or they're going to run far away from you. And the reason they run is because your light is so bright that it causes them to look at themselves and they don't like what they look like. Okay? And that's all in them. And that just means that they need to take some time to reflect. So I want you to really think about that. Really kind of think about what it's going to take for you to kind of become that light. And a lot of us think that we are. Okay. I know there was a point in time when I was working with a Taoist monk, and he said, and I was like, I'm the light. And he's like, and I go, I'm love. And he's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. You are not love, and you're not the light. And I was like, it really upset me. I was like, what? And I started reflecting on it is because internally I might have tried to act like I was, present myself, but it showed through. Okay. Because internally I didn't have any self-worth. And he saw through that. And he's like, when you learn to love yourself, Michelle, when you put yourself in a position where you care about your life and you create your life the way you want it to be because it's important to you, that's when you become light. And then you become an example for other people. It's like you're giving them permission to have a great life. It's like, hey, if you can do it, I can do it. And so that's why it's important for us to dive into, the self-worth. So part of this thing, so glad you were able to make it. Thank you. Oh, were you talking to somebody else? Maybe you're talking to Christy. Anyway, okay. So this thing is called Rewired. And it's because a lot of times people don't realize that they can actually reprogram their brains. And there's a lot of stuff out there, a lot of false information. In fact, one of my colleagues told me, Michelle, why don't you just put up something like everybody else does and say, reprogram your brain in 5 minutes. That's what a lot of people do. And they do it as what do they call line leaders. It's kind of like a anchor or a bait and switch kind of thing. But, I feel like personally, I have a duty to be honest with people. And so I'm not going to give you false information. Okay. So I've been doing this for 15 years and I have studied neurogenics, neuroscience, NLP, hypnosis, life coaching, psychology. I mean, I have like years of understanding how the brain works. Okay. So I need you to understand this. There is no magic wand. Okay. I am a hypnotherapist and hypnosis helps tremendously. And it is one of the main tools that I use to help a person reprogram their brain. However, because I need you to understand this, there is no magic wand. One hypnosis session is not going to cure your self-worth problems. Okay. So let's talk about the steps to rewire your brain. I think it's important that you understand this so that you can kind of go through it. So we're going to go through subject by subject every week. Okay. So we're going to go self-worth today, confidence next week, and I've got a whole lineup somewhere. I think I sent it in an email. And if you're not getting emails, please send me a direct message. I will put you in my email thing and make sure that you're getting the information, the dates, the times, blah, 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 everything. Okay. But we're going to be doing this for several months. Okay. So don't even worry about this. Just know that it is every Friday and every Wednesday. Okay. All right. So let's talk about how you rewire the brain. So if it's not a one and done situation and hypnosis, quote unquote, doesn't work, well, it does work, but it is not a magic pill and there is no magic pill. And so I need you to understand that there is hope and it does work. However, it takes commitment and time. So one of the things that I have found with a lot of clients that I've worked with, that they get impatient and they're feeling like it's supposed to happen now. It's supposed to happen now. But it takes approximately 6 to 8 weeks just to start seeing the change. Some people start seeing a change in a couple of weeks because they're really adamant about, doing the work, while other people are just doing the bare minimum. And, it takes some time. And so Christy's in the audience right now. How much time was it before you started feeling a shift? So whenever I don't even know if you left or not, but if you did, kind of just tell me how long it took you before you started when you started feeling a shift. Okay. So typically we're looking at 6 to 8 weeks. That's the average person. Some people sooner, some people longer, but that's when they start feeling the shift. Now that's when they start feeling different. So you're here. So how long did it take you before you started feeling the shift, Christy? Anyways, but that doesn't mean their brain has been programmed in 6 to 8 weeks. What has happened is it's kind of like, think about it from this perspective. It's kind of like you go and you take a crash course and you memorize all this stuff. Okay. And you start memorizing it. And so if I call out the information and I quiz you, you can mouth it back. Okay. Okay. So what happens if you step away from it? You forget it. Okay. So in a month from now, you haven't even looked at this material at all, and you just suddenly forget it. So that's typically what happens is that's why it takes longer for the reprogramming to happen, is because it's 6 to 8 weeks. You start feeling the shift. Chrissy says 1.5 to 2 months, which is 6 to 8 weeks. Okay. That's typical. For it to actually be a program, that means that you have to reinforce it over and over and over again. That means you have to start taking action to it. So what does that look like? So what we do is we decide what it is we want to reprogram. So right now, we're going to be working on reprogramming self-worth. So we want to create self-worth within ourselves. So what we have to do is we have to identify the way our mind is going. Okay. How are you going to identify that? We need to identify what those negative thoughts are And we need to catch them in action. And every time you think something, you need to, like some people say, erase, but you need to catch it in action and you need to reframe it immediately. I am worthy, but not just I'm worthy, but I am worthy because I have value because, and so, and you need to be like doing everything possible. So during this time, when I'm working with clients, I usually, when we're doing reprogramming, typically what we're doing is we're writing stuff every day, we're saying stuff every day out loud, and then we're listening to the hypnosis audios every day. Okay. And we're meditating every day. And we're watching videos every day, and we're reading books every day. It's a process. It's like, so here's what I usually tell people. If you have time to think negative thoughts, you have time to input positive thoughts. And I don't want to hear you guys say that you don't have time, because you have time to think negatively. So here's what you do. You sit there, and like, if you're walking down the stairs and a negative thought comes in, you just start saying the positive thought. That you have time to do it because you have time to think. And all this other stuff that I typically have clients do, what I do is I have them specifically doing it on times, what I call cheat times. Okay. So what you're doing is you're doing it when you're waking up and you're putting your makeup on. You're doing it when you're doing your hair. You're doing it in the bathtub. You're doing it when you're driving. You're doing it when you're laying down to go to sleep at night. You're taking all those moments when there's quiet time, and it's the best time because your brain is relaxed and you're like, input. Okay. And Chrissy says, okay, she says, if you work it, it works. Nothing different than a weight loss journey. You have to work it. Perfectly said. Thank you so much. And well, the thing is that it takes time. So how long does it take? Well, for you to completely reprogram your brain, you have to be taking action on it on a daily basis. So once your brain has memorized the script and it starts repeating it back to you, you start to feel differently because the words have a vibration. Okay. So I want you guys to do something with me. Okay. And we're going to talk, I'm going to show you how words have a vibration. Words can, and even thoughts can hold a specific feeling. So we're going to do an exercise right now. And I want you to just say, I'm not good enough. Close your eyes and do it and go, I'm not good enough. And really feel it when you're saying it. And then tell me how it feels. What does it feel like when you say that? I'm not good enough. And just let your shoulders kind of fall and let your body just kind of work into those words, which is usually kind of like, that feeling. Okay. I want you guys to comment. I want you to tell me, what does it feel like when you say that? Say, I'm not good enough. And tell me what it feels like. So I know there's people in here because I see the numbers. Okay. So come on, tell me what it feels like. Defeated. Very good. Very good. All right. Okay. So let's try something different. I want you to sit up straight, shoulders back. I want you to grab your arms and put them out like this. Okay. And we're going to go up like that. Okay. And as you do it, I want you to elevate your voice and even tilt your head up. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go, I am good enough. I am good enough. And look up while you're doing it. Okay. Do that. Come on, you guys, let's do it. I am good enough. Say it loud. Okay. And if you're at work, I'm sorry. Just try to just go, I am good enough. But the louder you say it, if you're at work and you're afraid people are going to hear you, then maybe try it later. Okay, so I'm hearing exciting. What else? Tell me else. Tell me, come on. Tell me what else. What else are you feeling when you do that? What do you feel when you do that? I am good enough. See, what happens is that we need to do this on a regular basis. It's the feelings that we need to be imprinting on the words. Okay. So when you're imprinting the feeling onto the words, I literally feel like a ripple of good feelings across my scalp. Very good, Shannon. Joyful. Very good, everybody. This is really good. All right. So let's try something else. Okay. And this is what I see a lot of people doing. Okay. They'll go, I'm good enough. I'm good enough. I am good enough. So I want you to try it like that. Show me. What does that feel like? It's almost like I'm saying it, but I don't believe it. Okay. And that's why we have to elevate our voice. We need to throw our hands up in the air because like honestly, like when you are trying to get a point across to somebody, what do? You put your arm out like this and you're like, you know, right? It feels like doubt. That is exactly right. Okay. So when we're trying to get a point across to somebody else, we're like trying to force that energy. What you're doing is you're doing the same thing. You're forcing the energy upon yourself. Okay. We're trying to force that energy on myself. Okay. And you're like, so now you're saying, I am good enough. Okay. I am. Okay. Try it like this. Put your arms out like this. I don't know if you can see my arms out. Let's see. Let me try it like, no, it won't reduce it. All right. Well, anyway, my arms out like this. And I want you to say, and just kind of like hold your head up. And I want you just to pull it in like that and just go, I am worthy. And then just kind of pull it in like, and bring it into your heart chakra. Your heart chakra is like, look at it right there. Okay. So we want to bring it in, heart chakra, and say, I am worthy. What does that feel like when you do that? A little bit different. Okay. Really, like just kind of put your arms out like that. Who said yuck? I don't even know who said that. Come on, that's not true. Come on, arms out like this. Bring it all in and just go, I am worthy. What does it feel like? Shannon, tell me what it feels like. Jacinda, tell me what it feels like. Elizabeth, tell me what it feels like. Christina, tell me what it feels like when you're grabbing and you're pulling it in. I am worthy. Like you're taking in that worthiness. Tell me what that feels like. Okay? Come on, you guys. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I need some activity. I need you to tell me, what does it feel like, guys? What does it feel like when you say I'm worthy and you're pulling it in like this? Okay? So amazing, uplifting, very good. So honestly, like when I do it, carrying like I'm worthy, very good, very good. I feel like when I do it, I feel like I'm bringing it into myself, sort of like that's why the motions kind of, like, and it's kind of like I'm taking in that worthiness. I deserve it. It's like, like you're at a restaurant and there's a pie in front of you and you're like grabbing the pie, it's like you're grabbing it because you deserve it, right? Okay, so what we want to do is we want to put action into stuff to where we're grabbing something because we are worthy. Okay, so just want to explain to you a little bit about how to reprogram your mind. So I need to pull something up here real quick. And I need to, I need to see this differently. Hold on a second. Give me a second, guys. I apologize. View as customer. I think that's how you do it. Okay. All right, here we go. Pull this over. Sorry, you guys. And let me stop at that. I'm going to show you something real quick. So I put this thing together right here, and this is this self-worth program. What I did was I literally took out, I have this huge program that has everything in it, okay? And what I did was I sliced out a portion of it, and I'm practically giving it away. It's $49. So let me just show you what's in it, okay? So there's a little get started video, and then there's this thing on understanding the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, superconscious mind, the higher conscious mind. This is actually really interesting stuff. You know, I don't know if you like that kind of stuff, but I do. I always find that kind of stuff super interesting. So we also have steps to change, and it shows you how to journal, how to reframe, diving deep into the reframing, rewriting your story. And then there's how to make a change in your life, how to activate awareness. There's a journal in here that, let's see, why is, and then we have, there's how to use the meditations and the hypnosis. So it's basically explaining to you how often you're going to listen to it, what you're going to do, how to use the frequencies. Then that you have the frequencies, then you have the hypnosis. And I'm having to make it smaller because I can't seem to get these up. Okay, why did it do that? I'm trying, hold on a second. And it did it to me again. Okay, hold on a second here. Oh, whatever. Anyways, there is like a zillion things in here. Let me try looking at it from a different direction here. Hold on. I want you to see how much is in here for like 40 bucks. It's freaking crazy. It's a lot. I'm just literally, and I realized that people are really struggling financially. So what I've decided to do is literally like give you a lot. Okay, so here we are. So we have, you see all of this, there's quite a bit. So we have the journal, we have the meditations and the hypnosis, the frequencies, the frequency hypnosis, the meditation hypnosis, self-worth and confidence hypnosis, how to activate concentration and focus and recharging energy. And this is, so you have, it seems to be missed. Oh, no, we have it in here. So we have a self-worth and confidence one. And on hypnosis, there's several hypnosis. There's a couple of different meditations, and there's just a lot of different stuff in here. And then there's directions on how to do this. And what you can do is literally like do these things every single day, and it starts that process of reprogramming yourself into having value for yourself, having value for yourself. So anyways, that is what I'm doing. So each week I'm going to be offering these really cool specials where I'm giving away like a ton of stuff for a really cheap price. And basically what I'm going to do is I'll have Jacinda is going to be like basically providing the links for you guys and sending them off to you, and making sure that, you know, everybody has the opportunity. So I'll post a thing in the Facebook group for anybody who wants it. And then Jacinda will like reach out to anybody who wants it privately. So here's what I want you to do is that if you're interested in this and you want the link to be able to look at it and like just kind of skim over it with a little bit more details, just put a fire emoji in the comments. And that way we're able to actually kind of, know who's interested without like sitting here going, hey, you want to buy this? Hey, you want to buy this? Hey, you want to buy this? I mean, I only really want to like sell it to people who really need it or who really want it, and it's cheap. It's super, super cheap. There's a little bit more in there than just on self-worth. So the journal actually gives you the opportunity to journal on other things. And I kind of explained that to you in the first video because it was either me recreate a video, which I didn't want to do, several of them, or I was going to have to, or I was going to have to, just kind of explain it to you and say, well, I'm actually giving you a little more. But what I'd really like you to do, if you're wanting to kind of take this journey and you want to like work on a section at a time, it's really best to really focus, on one section at a time. Like, so when I'm working with my clients, I give them the hypnosis audio and say, listen to this every day. We're reframing this. This is what you're going to write every day. And then we work on each section and we sort of start compounding it, it's sort of like building on it. And, and if you want to follow me through this whole thing, I can, you're going to learn how to do all that, and you're going to have all the tools to do it. Okay. So here's the thing. Anyone who actually follows weekly and goes through this whole process with me and decides that they're going to like do this, I'm going to offer some special discounts for them if you want to join, group coaching. So let me just kind of take a moment to talk about that just for a second, just so that you guys know. Group coaching is amazing. You really get a lot of support. You end up figuring out that other people feel the same way you do, and you bond and you get these friendships, and it's just amazing. It's amazing to be able to have those kind of things. So I am launching new group coaching. It is open. So if you're interested in doing that, Jacinda has a link for that as well. I'll be, so here's the pricing, really cheap, $39 a month. Just jump in there, watch the videos. It's for the busy person on the go, doesn't have time to commit to a class. Okay. But you'll have access to it. You'll be able to watch it. Okay. You'll get to see the group and interaction and all that kind of stuff. If you want to interact, you want to show up for the class and you want to be in front of me and talk to me and ask me all those questions and say, Michelle, here's my personal issue I need to work through. That in itself is $99 a month. Super cheap. And then the last option is for you to have interaction with the group, show up for class, have access to everything that's going on in the group and all the extra stuff that's happening. You also get 8 sessions with me. Okay. 8 sessions. You do commit to 6 months, 8 sessions, and it's $250 a month. Okay. So everybody is different, whatever you need. So maybe you just want to buy the $49 thing because that's in your budget, and that's okay. And maybe you want, and you just show up for all these things every week. That's okay too. Whatever works for you guys. That's why I put these like tiered systems in so that I'm hitting everybody's budget. I do get a lot of people who ask if I do one-on-ones. Okay. So that $250 a month includes 8 one-on-ones with me. Okay. Over a 6-month period. You can use them all in a month, or you can use them in 2 months or whatever. It's up to you. Okay. So you're getting a one-on-one. Your one-on-ones are not like 15 or 30 minutes. They're like an hour with me. Okay. And it's private sessions. So the value of this is really good. The other thing is, let's say you just want to work one-on-one and you want to see me on a regular basis. You're like, I want to go through this whole reprogramming process, but I feel like it's just not enough for me to show up for group, and it's not enough to have a few sessions. And you really want to have that twice a week, really intense immersion program. If you want to do that, we need to set up a private consult. Okay. And that means you book an appointment with me, you set up a private consult, and we talk about it and see if this matches what you really need. Because sometimes people think that, but they really need something different. And some people think they need this and they need something else. Okay. So when it comes down to that, set up a private session and we can talk about that. I do have some spaces. I'm looking for about 5 new clients for one-on-ones. So I just recently finished up a round of people. So I have the space for 5 new people. So if that is something you're interested in doing, let me know. So anyway, this is all that I have today. Thanks for you guys that have stuck around through my little ranting about everything. I'm going to post all this information. Primarily, I'm just kind of pushing the group coaching because it's a lot less expensive and it fits everybody's budget. So if it is, like I said, if it's something you're interested in doing and you want more information, Jacinda's going to be sending out the links and she'll have all the information for you. It's pretty easy though. You can literally you can go to michellethompson.coach and the information's on there. The link specifically for the $49 has not been activated on the website yet because literally I've been working like a slave trying to get all this stuff together. Literally building the website, building the programs, doing all this stuff. It takes time. So basically I haven't set that link up, but Jacinda has it. So you can get it from her. So everything else is, whatever you guys want, I'm here to serve. That's my goal. I want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to transform. And if you're ready and you're committed to yourself, no matter what your budget is, you can make it happen. So stop making excuses and start putting your life in order. It's time now to take charge of yourself because you owe it to you to be the best version of you. You guys have a wonderful day. It's almost an hour now. I've taken up enough of your time. Make sure you show up for Jacinda. She's going to be doing a follow-up on self-worth. Each time we're going to be basically kind of like talking about stuff that's a little bit different. So I would definitely encourage you to support her and showing up for Wednesday night at 7:00. Okay. And that's Central, by the way. Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. I'll make sure I post it. You guys have a wonderful day. I will see you soon. Bye.